Hi, welcome back to the Harvest Table. Today we're continuing our studies about God's creatures, big and small. And today we're going to be talking about the birds God created. And we're going to share several scriptures. The first one is Genesis chapter 1, verse 20, beginning at verse 20. And it says, Then God said, Let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that scurries and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird, each producing offspring of the same kind. And as we think about birds, it's hard to say 100% how many species there are in the world. Most experts say the number ranges between 10,800 to 11,032 species. That's a lot of birds, isn't it? 50 billion individual birds worldwide. From a colorful parrot that lives in the Amazon rainforest to a majestic eagle soaring over the mountaintops, to the tiny hummingbird that many of us may see in our own backyard. Birds are all around us, aren't they? Do you ever stop to think that God created them? The color of the feathers are so magnificent, aren't they? God didn't just use gorgeous colors for the rainbow, did he? All through creation, he designed so much with vibrant colors for us to enjoy, from the brightest red poppy or the red rose to the gleaming black wings of a crow. One hand brought them all into being, the hand of God. Have you ever taken time to just sit and watch the birds, to listen to them sing, to observe them carrying items to build their nest? It's truly quite amazing to watch as they pick up a worm after the rain and carry it back to their nest to feed their little babies. If you haven't done this in a while, I encourage you, when you wake up in the morning, take your coffee and go sit on your porch or a balcony or somewhere outside and just listen and watch and see God's creation. And don't just listen to the birds, listen to God. Allow Him to speak to you through His creation. You know He really wants to do that. Everything God made has a purpose, and sometimes He uses unusual things to speak to us. So I encourage you to go out and listen to the birds and see what God might speak to you. I want to read you something that I came across that I just love. It says, Creation is a visible photograph of God Himself. Think of the hymn, How Great Thou Art. It's hard to look at all God's beautiful creation and not sing that song, isn't it? When you think of all the world that God has made, how can you not sing to Him? How can you not glorify God and rejoice in His creation? I wanted to look at a couple other scriptures about the birds that you can meditate on as you sit outside maybe tomorrow and watch them. One of them says, Isaiah 31:5 says, Like birds flying about, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. And Luke 12:7 tells us that we are of much more value than many sparrows. If God takes care of those little sparrows, how much more will He take care of you and I? And Psalms 84:3 says, Even the sparrow has found a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may have her young, a place near your altar, Lord Almighty King and my God. Do you know God created the little sparrow for a purpose? And many times we overlook things God created. And well, you might not think about those little birds. At night, many of them go and sleep in the trees. And then when you wake up in the morning, if you're out real early, you'll hear them awaken. They begin stirring in the trees. The leaves begin moving. I'll tell you a funny story. One time I was doing paper route and delivering some papers at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And I heard this great big whooshing sound all of a sudden as soon as I stepped in a person's yard. And man, there came an owl out of that tree that about gave me a heart attack. And I couldn't help but be overwhelmed, even as surprised as I was, at how gorgeous it was. I mean, it was beautiful, and it just came flying out of that tree in an instant. There are many beautiful surprises God has made for us in nature, and I encourage you to get out, enjoy them, and meditate on the Lord and listen to what He wants to tell you. I'd love to hear if you do that and meditate on the Lord and listen to Him speak, what He tells you when you're watching those little birds. My sister has a beautiful view from her kitchen window that she can just sit there and watch those beautiful hummingbirds, the woodpeckers, the blue jays. I can't even tell you how many varieties of birds she sees through her window, but it's just lovely to sit there and watch them. And when you do, you can't help but think of God. So connect with God through nature and let me know how it goes. And tomorrow we're going to talk about another bird, a very special bird in the Bible, and you won't want to miss that one. So tune in tomorrow and we'll find out more of what God does with creation and with the birds. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.